Good morning, everybody. I'm Rhett Nelson. I work with OSPI and Graduation and Team Effort. This is part of a monthly series we do, responding to our annual district survey. We have an annual district survey that goes out to all districts in the state on dropout prevention, intervention, re-engagement strategies, and the systems that support them. That is live now. If your district has not filled that out, please do. I include that in all of my emails out about this series. Your input is helpful. It helps us identify challenges as well as assess capacity in the state for improving graduation rates. One of the challenges that has been brought up repeatedly through that medium is the challenge of the changing graduation requirements that we have here in the state over the last several years. The big one coming up soon of the 24 credit requirement. So part of our effort to support schools and districts out there would be to find out some strategies that other districts are using that are hopefully going to be effective in meeting these changing requirements. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the 24 credit and how the high school and beyond plan is being used there. I just want to go over the new mission and vision of OSPI established in August of 2014. As you see our vision here, the guiding idea is that every student is ready for college, career, and life. We're thinking about, not just getting that diploma anymore, but making sure that those students are ready for that next step and moving into that next step. Our mission is an enabling mission. You guys working with the students are the real blood and soul of the effort. So how can we support your district and support you to better do your job? With that, I'm turning it over to Denise and Dixie to discuss.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, now there's 23. Okay. Good morning, everybody. This is Dixie Grunenfelder, Director of Secondary Ed here at OSPI. And I'm happy to have Denise Ackelson and Josh Lowe, Principal at Centralia High School, presenting the webinar today. We're excited to have this topic. I've been out with the State Board of Education talking about the new 24 credit requirement and things that districts are doing. So one thing that has been voiced in those meetings and from other forums I've been in is the use of the high school and beyond plan really to kind of frame those 24 credits and make the intention of the 24 credit requirement become real, which is the increased rigor and getting students ready for that post-secondary launch. So I think I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Denise, and she's going to take the rest of the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Dixie. So I'm Denise Ackelson, and I work in guidance and counseling at OSPI. And sorry about the slide before. There are 24 credits, not 23. I think we had a finger slip on that as a typo. 24 credits. So when we talk about getting to graduation, as Rhett mentioned, GATE is doing a lot of things, and this is only one of the several webinars that we do each month. So next month we will be talking about family engagement, and that webinar will be March 9th, and then April 13th we will be talking about mental health awareness and services. We continue to hear that is a great need in our schools. You will also find archived webinars on the GATE webpage as we continue to talk about getting to graduation. So just a little background about the 24 credits. In 2014, a House bill or Senate bill 6552 passed that said 24 credits are required for the class of 19. And at that time, those students were in 7th grade. So now they are 9th graders, and I know that many schools have been working on how to best address getting students the 24 credits when oftentimes there are only 24 opportunities. So we're going to talk about that as we move along. In addition to adding credits, there was a requirement that was dropped. The culminating project was eliminated as a state graduation requirement for the class of 2015 and beyond. And then in addition, the personalized pathway was added based on a student's high school and beyond plan for a greater emphasis on helping students focus on their future. And we're going to highlight some of the flexibility with this, with these new credits using multiple approaches. And again, that will start with this year's ninth graders. So I know that this slide has been around and people have seen it around, but I just wanted to use it to demonstrate how the 24 credits are broken up. So we used to refer to this as Core 24, but that term is not used any longer. Now we talk about the 24 Career and College Ready Diploma. And the reason that we don't talk about Core 24 is that there are only 17 core credits that are required. And so you can see 4 English, 3 Math, 3 Science, 3 Social Studies, 1 CTE, 2 Health and Fitness, and then the other 4 credits that are considered a part of a student's personalized pathway. So you add those up in the light blue and you come up with 17. So looking down at 2 arts and 2 world language, think of that as a default. If students do not have a personalized pathway and they have not identified what they want to do, then this would be their default. But most students will identify a personalized pathway. They will maybe take 1 art, no foreign language, because they want to do, they want to have a different plan. So, we'll come back to that in a moment. But in addition to the 17 core, there are still 4 elective credits that students can take. So there is plenty of room to get everything in for students. So this is another way to look at the 7 electives, if you will. So you could really have 7 courses that were devoted to a student's personalized pathway. These are called 7 flexible credits. Another way to look at it would be some students may wish to take more rigors, honors, AP courses, or dual credit, such as college in the high school, or running start, and of course AP. Some students may wish to take 4 years of band, or 4 years of a single world language, and all of that is possible with proper planning, of course. Some students may opt to go to a skill center and take 3 periods a day during their junior or senior year to study a trade or vocation at the many skill centers we have in our state. So I mention those as options because I know those are real to our students. So helping students meet this 24 credit is a challenge. And we've talked to a lot of people around the state who say, you know, we've got to change what we're doing because there's only 24 opportunities to get 24 credits. But I just wanted to point out there are some other options. And one is the OSPI CTE course equivalencies for math and science. These are posted on the CTE website. They're brand new. There will probably be more coming as of next year. But if you haven't taken a look at these, this would be an opportunity to help your students meet the requirements in a different kind of way. The other option would be the 2-for-1. Starting with the class of 16, that's this year's seniors, students may satisfy 2 graduation requirements while earning 1 credit in a single course. So I think of it as a student may be taking, say, art or photography, and that course is taught by a CTE teacher, which can also be one of their occupational credits and one of their art credits, their requirements met. So they would check off art, they would check off occupational, but they would only receive 1 credit. Now we have talked to some districts who have figured out how to do this within their student information system for tracking. But some folks have resorted back to the hand calculation. But whatever your method of keeping track of it, just know that the 2-for-1 is a viable option. I also have put in this particular slide some links. So if you wanted to have more information about that, you could go to the CTE webpage, or you could go to the State Board of Education. They have an FAQ, and the 2-for-1 question is in there. We also know that districts are continuing to offer many different kinds of credit retrieval, online programs and other classes within their school, and that's not anything new. That, of course, credit retrieval has been around for a long time. Now let's talk about the personalized pathway requirement, the PPR. high school and beyond plan, of course, is required for everybody, and local school districts determine what the high school and beyond plan is. The personalized pathway are 3 credits or more, because remember we have the 7 electives that are based on the high school and beyond plan. So this graphic gives you a little bit better information, and I would be happy to send this to anyone if you're presently working on that and you need the graphic to show what that is. We want to pause here for some questions, Rhett. Do we have more
let's
questions?
check to see if there's any questions.
Okay. Oh, let's see.
For class of 2016.
The 2-for-1 starts with the class of 2016. The 24 credits are for the class of 2019 and beyond. And yes, this PowerPoint will be available on the OSPI GATE webpage.
Yeah, I will send that out as a link right after this, or shortly after this, once I get it online today.
So those of you who wanted to have a copy of some of the slides will be able to print that as well. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit more about the High School Beyond Plan and what is the personalized pathway. So we know that the High School and Beyond Plan is a non-credit graduation requirement for all students, and this has been around for a while. But we know that there is more emphasis on the High School and Beyond Plan. The plan revolves around 3 basic questions. Who am I? What can I become? And how do I become that? This is a culmination of multi-year processes to help students think about how to get the most out of high school and about their post-secondary plans. So students create their own individualized pathway through high school and revise their plan annually to accommodate changing interest or goals. Being purposeful about the selection of courses to align with interest is what is important for each student's individualized, personalized pathway. And we also have had schools ask us the question, hey, can you send me that list of personalized pathways? There is no such thing. There is no list of a personalized pathway because it's individual for each student. Now, school districts have taken some of their courses and said, if you're interested in finance, then these would be some courses that you'd want to take. If you were interested in going to become an auto mechanic, these might be some pathways or some courses. But the actual personalized pathway is for the individual student. So students identify a career goal, a 4-year course plan to meet their graduation requirements, including the state assessments, and make an articulated plan for after graduation. Their plan might include a 4-year college, a 2-year or technical college, apprenticeship, military, or a certificate program. So we know that, and in some cases, we know that some students may go to work right after high school as well. So what is meant by high-quality high school and beyond plan? We know that the WAC basically says you have to have a plan, and then it's up to the local school district to say what is in the plan. Well, with the elimination of the Culminating Project 2015, the High School and Beyond Plan's importance has risen, especially as it connects with this year's 9th graders and beyond. Having a high-quality high school and beyond plan means that the plan starts in middle school. It starts in 8th grade at least, before students enter high school. So I would expect at this time of year that school counselors from the high school are going over to the middle school to talk to their students, but hopefully the middle school counselors have been able to go over the graduation requirements for the class of 2020, this year's 8th graders, to talk about how the changes will affect them and what the changes are, maybe from their siblings who graduated, say, in 2014. So the high school and beyond plan needs to be revisited every year, starting in 8th grade, revisited in 9th grade, 10th, and so on, to make sure that students are on track for graduation and that they have a plan. So we know that the high school and beyond plan should include a career interest inventory that should be shared with parents every year. So the elements, identifying educational goals, identifying career goals, the 4-year plan that aligns with the student's career and educational goals, identifying the assessments that are needed to graduate and also needed for post-secondary options, along with the activity log or resume. These basic elements are part of the High School and Beyond plan. So it doesn't matter what school district you're in or what part of the state that you're in, we believe that a high-quality plan would include all of these things. So what are some current resources that we offer? Well, at OSPI, we believe that Career Guidance Washington is a first step for folks because our state is very rich in resources, but we think that Career Guidance Washington is a first step because it has 20 lessons in four grades 6 through 12, 20 each. It has templates to create the High School and Beyond plan, and we also connect with Career Bridge, which is a free career interest inventory. And we also connect with the CTE program of study. And I'm going to also tell you about the new electronic High School and Beyond plan that's offered through with SIPSI for Student Information Systems. There's also a handbook that folks can use as they start to develop their program, and it includes information about student-led conferences with the parents, student-informed scheduling for course selection and registration and forecasting of classes, and much more. There's also a program replication example. It was a project that we used to showcase what we learned from the College Readiness Initiative. So how to replicate a program to create an effective High School and Beyond plan. It has action plans, and it also includes some evidence-based practices. We also have links to other state resources, and we also have offered regional trainings for the past 4 years. We know that schools have also created their own lessons, their own resources. Many local school districts have done that. And one of the reasons that we have Career Guidance Washington resources in Word is so that folks can take those and create their own for the special needs that you have at your school. And we know that there are some proprietary products that schools pay a fee to use with their students that certainly have a lot more bells and whistles than just using the Career Guidance Washington curriculum. So this is information about the new High School and Beyond plan electronic tool. And I know that Josh Lowe in Centralia is going to refer to that as well because they've started using it. But just in case you don't know about it, it is available for all schools in all school districts in Washington, all public high schools in Washington. It's free. Even though it's a WSIPSI tool and it is in the My School Data part of Skyward, WSIPSI will help school districts who don't use Skyward or My School Data to receive this free tool. So there could be a little bit of a charge for the hookup fee, but the tool itself is free. We are appreciative that this High School and Beyond plan is based on Career Guidance Washington. So the template that is there that has pull-down menus and links to many different things is based on the Career Guidance Washington that has been formulated and many years ago that many schools have been using throughout the years. WSIPSI has also offered some trainings on how to use this tool, although it is pretty simple. And I will give you the contact if you would like to know that. So one of the things that is new for the High School and Beyond plan, the personalized pathway, is to have parent checkoff or parent input. So there is a place to do that on this electronic tool. And everything is also connected for the free Career Bridge or the free Occupational Handbook so that students can have a free career interest inventory. We are also working with WSIPSI to see about getting more bells and whistles on this tool, for example, how to upload documents. But it is very simple and easy to use. So the question often that we get are, well, how are schools implementing their High School and Beyond plan? So I was asked the question recently at a workshop what do you think the best way is? What's the best practice for implementing their high school beyond plan? And without a doubt, I would say the advisory program, and it's probably the most popular way to get every student on the right track. Because in advisory, you have one teacher with a small number of students, say 20, 25 students, who meet year after year, week after week, year after year, and really help them find their way. They also consult with their school counselor, of course. Even though they may have an advisory teacher, the advisory teacher is not the school counselor, and we do encourage the school counselor, of course, to be involved with the leadership of advisory. We think about 2/3 of our schools in our state have advisory, and many of them, most of them, also give credit for advisory. Usually it's about 0.25 per year. But some schools have group presentations in their career centers for students to learn how to develop their high school beyond plan. Some schools have school counselors that meet one-on-one with students as the only way to get their high school beyond plan. We know that school counselors meet every day one-on-one with students for a variety of reasons. And there are also a few schools who have their high school and beyond plan in core classes, or at least parts of it in their core classes. So what best practices does your school implement for the high school and beyond plan? So here are some questions if you were thinking about how to go about implementation or making some changes. When looking at best practices on how schools develop and implement this plan, these questions could be used in your planning. So it utilizes a distributive leadership model and process where the school administrator, with the support from school counselors and possibly grade level teachers, are involved with this. So the questions of what is your plan, what's your structure, what's your time of day, who leads, who coordinates, what tools are you going to use, how is the plan implemented, and how are parents connected. So those would be some basic questions that you would want to go about answering if you were looking at making changes or updating what you were doing. So this would be an example of something that I recently received from a school where they're having advisory for 0.25 credit, meets 25 minutes each day, but it also has a flexible schedule for other school events such as school assemblies led by the school counselor and grade band teachers. The administration provides PLC time for training, so everybody's on the same page. But the teachers teach the lesson, and then school counselors are referred to for more depth, or for individual students who have additional questions, of course. But it doesn't involve a student-led conference time held in the spring. At least in the spring, many hold their student-led conferences in the fall as well. And at the conferences, the grades are shared, the career interest inventories are shared, post-secondary plans. You'll often hear a parent say to their student, to their child, "Oh, Red, I didn't know you were interested in that." Because, you know, a lot of times students don't share those kinds of things with their parents. But at the student-led conference, it's really apparent that the student has given this a lot of thought because they've been learning about it. So it's a chance to teach what I call teaching college knowledge. And college, of course, means anything that is a post-secondary plan. But we also know that the student-led conferences are connected with the next year's class registration so that the students are thinking about what courses they want to take. The career centers, for those schools who are lucky enough to have one, is a rich source of resources, but also a place where students can meet individually or in small groups. I know that career counselors often have groups of students come into the career center for information. So now we're going to introduce Josh Lowe from Centralia High School. Josh is the principal, and he's a recent winner of the Career Guidance Award of Excellence, Centralia High School is. And Josh is going to do some sharing about what they're doing at Centralia High School. So Rhett's going to get us hooked up with Centralia. While we're getting the hookup, let's look at our questions. Will the state be providing more funding to districts to allow hiring more counselors to be able to implement all of this? You know, in the room I have with me Assistant Superintendent Dan Newell, and I know that we are, Superintendent Doran does have in the budget provides provision to add more funding for guidance and counseling as a part of one of his top budget items. Did you want to say anything about that, Dan?
Sure, that'd be great. Just I'll add to this just in a small way, but Superintendent Doran, as you know, has as one of his major tenets students successful in career tech ed, the old vocational name that I remember because I'm now in my 40th year. Top priority. He has several, and one of the other ones is the funding for the counseling staff. And my guess is there's other administrators online here that understand the desperate need and the dire need. As you noticed, or maybe you didn't, the legislature has decided to follow suit and agree with Superintendent Doran after consternation and much pushing. And of course, it's called McCleary. And we have total faith that McCleary is going to be implemented in the very near future. We could probably debate that, discuss it, cuss it, and come up with different dates. But as you know, it is a mandate by our Supreme Court. So this is going to happen, and hopefully you can hang in there for another couple of years, and you will, and you can take this to the bank, although well, yeah, go ahead and take it to the bank. There will be some reprieve and there will be some help coming in the not-too-distant future. I've never been able to say that in my 40 years. 27 as a high school principal, I could never say to my counselors, and I usually had one or two with 30 kids outside of their door, the most in dire straits. I've never been able to say that help is on the way. It is on the way as per Superintendent Doran. And as soon as we move the legislature, and it isn't moving right now, I was just there because we're in a supplemental session, so they're doing cosmetic changes. But next January, February, March, and hopefully not April, May, and June like last year, you're going to see significant changes. And anyway, I just appreciate all that you do for our K-12 students in the state.
Thank you, Dan.
And go ahead, Josh.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. And you can see my slides okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I apologize. First time I've done this remotely, so yeah. So we'll see how this goes. First thing I'd like to do is just say thank you to Dixie and Denise and Rhett for having me this morning and for their ongoing help and support. Certainly. Being just a few miles away from Olympia, we lean on them from time to time, and it's wonderful having them so close and as a resource. I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes talking a little bit about our career guidance program and specifically the high school and beyond plan. I'd be remiss if I didn't start with just a few things about Centralia and our school here. We are a comprehensive high school of over 1,000 students in grades 9 through 12. And, just some of the things that make Centralia unique, we have some struggles, one of those being that we have a 40% mobility rate, 70% poverty rate, and it's a challenge meeting our graduation rate expectations and standards that we've set for ourselves. But one of the things we're proud of is in the last year, 2014, we listed our graduation on-time 4-year graduation rate at 71.8. And this year we will report a number of 80.2% on-time 4-year graduation rate. So some of the things that we're doing here have had a good deal of impact, on those expectations that we set for ourselves. Before I move on with the high school and beyond plan, I will say that, one of the biggest things as far as impacting our graduation rate, this is my second year as principal. One of the first things we did when I came in was we put together a graduation rate committee. And that way we place stakeholders on that committee, middle school administrators, high school administrators, teachers, district office personnel, And the most important thing we do in that committee that meets a couple times a month is we talk about individual specific kids. And we talk about them in a way of how are we going to get them, how are we going to get them to graduation day? And if we can't get them to graduation on, whatever the date is in June, how are we going to get them there in July or August? So that one little caveat there. All right, moving on with what I'm here to talk about. Just a little bit about our history and structure. We're in a time of transition right now with our advisory. We're an old NAV school. We were an original grantee back almost 10 years ago. We are transitioning to what we're calling the Tiger Success Initiative, or TSI. You can see that we have a long history of some type of advisory program here at our high school. We meet by grade level with a specific curriculum that we do conform and make it Centralia, but we start off with the model that Denise was talking about earlier. We have added Core Flex Study Hall 2 years ago, and this year I'm proud to say that we have increased it. Instead of just 3 days a week, we are meeting 5 days a week. So we feel it's really important, and so much so that we include it in our late start days and in our special schedule days as well. Here's our current structure for our advisory, grade level specific groups, all 4 years. We really stress to our teachers and our advisors that this is the most important thing they do each day, is meeting with this group of kids. It is a common group of kids that is part of their Core Flex, so their advisory students become their Core Flex students as well. So teachers are seeing their advisory group every day. We are run by a curriculum team. We have an advisory summit each June. I'm in preparation and planning for the next year, and you can see the different pieces of our puzzle that make up our current structure.
Josh, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
I have a couple people that are saying that they don't see his slides. Are there people out there that are seeing the slides? It's an orange slide. It says growth right now. Okay. I'm getting that most people are seeing the slides. On those that aren't, I would suggest maybe if you log out and log back in. Thanks, Josh.
And we'll send it.
And we will send this out again, like I said, after the presentation.
Okay. So moving on, what we kind of measure ourselves by growth. Are we improving in the areas that we think that we need to improve in? So we're seeing students, we're seeing growth in our programs, our higher level courses, chemistry, physics. We're really trying to move away. I know I put honors choices there, but we want honors to mean something. So one of our initiatives this year is really moving from honors classes to something that would be meaningful. It would still be an honors level course in terms of rigor, but would give it some teeth. So one of the things we're doing is instead of offering Honors English 11 next year, we'll be offering AP Language and Composition. And then that'll be coupled with, of course, a AP class in ELA that we traditionally offer to their senior year. We're looking at expanding our AP offerings across our program. We'll implement a 10th grade level offering for AP next year as well. Instead of an honors biology, we'll offer AP biology. As Denise said earlier, the state did remove the culminating project requirement from the state graduation requirements. We at Centralia really valued that culminating project, and it is still a part of our local graduation requirements. We are reworking exactly what those standards are that students have to meet, but as it stands for this year and into the future, students will still complete a culminating project at Centralia High School. We just see that as being so valuable, especially in regard to community involvement, community service. In fact, one of the new components of the culminating project will be for students to just complete a service project. It helps us with a growth in parent involvement as well. Okay, moving on. We did talk a little bit earlier about the high school and beyond plan. We are piloting the use of what Sunny's highlighted earlier, the My School data, the high school and beyond plan. I have just a slide of it there. We are using it with our students this year and having a great deal of success. And as she said, it's really easy and simple, and we appreciate that WSIPC is making this tool evolve over time. So we will have full implementation of this for the 16 and 17 school year. Our high school and beyond plan is a career and college planning choice all 4 years as a review and renew, and they sit with their advisors and talk about this each year starting in grade 8. They use it as a tool for forecasting for their classes, and each 8th grader that comes in will have a 4-year plan that they will review and update with their advisor starting in fall of their freshman year. They also review that with their advisor and their parent come forecasting time in the spring. Some of our ongoing challenges, are ones that have been there throughout. Understanding the role and potential of advisory, it's really driving the point home to our teachers and to our advisors that this advisory can be the most influential, the most impactful for these students each and every day. Making sure that we're intentional about carving out time for our PLC and curriculum work so that TSI is meaningful to students, that's a key. Making sure that we have properly trained our staff, enable all of those things put together will enable that we have staff buy-in. What's next for improvement? We're reworking our high school and beyond plan for the class of 2019, really involving the the online tool that I highlighted earlier. 24 credits, of course, we're all not worrying about, but making plans for. Introduction of TSI for 16-17 and implementing the new culminating project in 16-17 as well. And I think I started out, my name is Joshua, I'm the principal of Centralia High School. Usually doing this presentation would be Mr. Parker. He is a standout member of our counseling team here at Centralia High School. He, because of a personal matter, wasn't able to be here today. But if you have any questions regarding anything I presented today, feel free to contact me or Jim Parker at the ways that are highlighted on your screen right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. There's a couple of questions that came in. Are you running the My School data through advisory?
Yes.
Great. Is there a lot of pushback from teachers about the amount of time the TSI advisory program takes from the classes?
Yes and no. I would say for the most part, no. I mean, anytime you have 60 certificated teachers in the building, there's going to be a little bit of pushback from the corners, but for the most part, we have made huge strides in having our staff buy into this program completely.
I've heard similar things from other districts as well, and I know that there's some districts out there that unfortunately have labor contracts and stuff that actually work against those advisory programs. But for the most part, from the districts I'm seeing with a lot of success, I'm seeing them integrating those advisory programs pretty well.
We would also be interested in knowing if anyone else is using the new WSIPC High School Beyond plan and how that's going for you. So you can email us and let us know about that.
Sure.
We had another question earlier about the 2-for-1, and it was from Eugene. And just to answer your question briefly, Eugene, you and I can email later, but it is a local control, a local decision about which courses you would used for the 2-for-1. So it would be a CTE course and something else. That would be 1 credit that would meet 2 graduation requirements.
What is the difference, Josh, between core flex and advisory?
Okay, well, they're kind of blended, really, and they complement each other. Core flex is our study hall period where we students that don't have any D's or F's are given the opportunity to have a 30-minute period to them, that they can work on. They don't have to be in the classroom. They start in the classroom. We take attendance, but then if they are a flex kid, if they are an A, B, or C kid, they can go out in the hallways, they can go get a snack, whatever. If they are a core kid, then they're going to stay with that advisor, and they're going to be working on, whatever class that they have, grades that, classes that they're struggling in, classes that they're earning a D or an F grade in at that time. And we really make this a living core flex model. I think that's kind of what maybe makes our model a little bit different, but it is updated each day as far as grading goes. So teachers receive a core flex list of their advisory students of who is in core that day and who is in flex that day.
Another question, you did say you have advisory every day, is that correct?
Yeah, those kids are meeting, that cohort group is meeting as a group every day. We don't have a lesson every day. Our lessons are about once a week, but they do meet every day, yes.
All right. Another question, are you having any issues with parents' approval on the High School and Beyond plan since it requires them to have Skyward access to approve?
Yeah, what we've been doing there is working with counselors and advisors, working with parents over the phone, and then in one-on-one meetings and approving those with one another if they aren't able to get on remotely.
Okay, and a question about how many minutes are in your core flex reward time. I think you said 25 minutes?
Or 30 minutes a day.
Oh, 30 minutes, okay. And who is responsible for sending out the list of core flex attendees, and how has the process been a problem, or has this process been a problem?
So one of the really nice things that I have in this building this year is we have hired a new hire, a 712 district data coach, and that person in my school is named Mike Stratton, and he generates that data each night and sends it out.
Okay. I'm not sure about this question, but Heidi writes, how might this look in a credit recovery alternative high school model?
I don't know. We have a credit recovery program that we build into our school day. We offer 6 periods of APEX for students that are credit deficient in one or more areas. But I don't know how the program might look in a true ALE environment.
As far as the alternative school, I know that we do have many alternative high schools who use advisory and use this model, but I'm not really sure, like you said, about an ALE model. But that would be something we could find out more about, and maybe write a newsletter article about it in our upcoming News and More for School Counselors. All right, so I think we've answered most questions from you, Josh. Josh, we really appreciate you today, and it's interesting that you shared the information about your culminating project. That's a really great connection with the High School Beyond plan. I know many schools have kept their culminating project, and the fact that you've made it meaningful, and you have data that shows results. That's one of the reasons we wanted you to be here as a prime and a superb example of a best practice. So thank you so much.
I wanted to talk for a second about that too, Josh. We see a lot of these requirements out there. Almost all of them are intentional. They're all out there to be supportive for students. It's tough when they become requirements, because then they sort of become a checkbox. But we see that time and time again with districts that are being successful is they're using those intentionally, like your high school and beyond plan, like your culminating project, to make the school day more engaging for the students and more connected to what they're needing to learn. So I love that.
All right. So in conclusion, thank you, Josh, again. So in conclusion, we'll just talk about the Quality High School and Beyond Plan components you can see on the screen. These were actually from the State Board of Education a couple of years ago, and these were actually used in the formation of the WSIPSC High School and Beyond Planner. Hang on a minute. So I'm just going to give you 3 slides here about some examples of what schools are doing for their high school and beyond plan. So this would be a middle school plan. You can see that it's more about identifying and exploring, learning, those kinds of things. And then for the 10th grade plan, you can see that it's, again, about identifying, learning, exploring, building, presenting, again, at their student-led conference. And then the senior year is all about applying and completing, visiting, taking, finalizing, because after all, this plan is their next, leads them to their next step. So we just have some questions that we know parents are going to be asking, because this whole idea of a high school and beyond plan is not just for the student, but it does involve family engagement. So the parents who may or may not have gone to college, if they did not go to college, they may be totally lost, and we will have to help them with some of the basics, like what's a GPA, what's a class rank. We have a lot of acronyms in education that we may need to break down for parents. And even if parents did go to college, things are different. Times have changed. There are more requirements. There's also more options. So we also want to take care of parents and their needs. Some ideas about how to make a high school and beyond plan a school-wide effort would be, putting up bulletin boards, having a college signing day. I know in our state we are going to really encourage folks around May 2nd to have a college signing day. It's just like the athletic signing day that happened in February, but the college signing day means something like everybody's in the gym, they hold up their sign, I'm going to go to WSU, I'm going to South Puget Sound Community College, I'm going to join the military, and they have their signs, and the school, at a school assembly, say these students are celebrated with their signage, and maybe people could get up and make a speech about their pathway, how they got to where they were, who inspired them, who were some of their mentors. And I know that high schools around the state are getting more on board with the college signing day. There's also lots of words of wisdom from former students who come back. And you can see on the screen that there are some other school-wide events that you can do as a part of your high school and beyond plan. These are some best practices. Centralia is a great example, of course, and there are many more excellent models that we have in our state. I recognize some of your names on the webinar today as also having good opportunities for students. And we do encourage you to visit other schools, because we believe that if you send a leadership team of administrators, teachers, and school counselors to get new ideas, when you come back, you're really inspired by that. Uh-oh. That was it. Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to Red to give us the conclusion.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Did I cut off some more slides?
That's fine.
Okay.
We cut off our resource slide, but it will be on the PowerPoint.
I'll make sure I include that on the PowerPoint that goes online. Thanks again for everybody for joining. This is a monthly series. We've got this archived online on the GATE homepage. I don't have a link for it, of course, here. And there's my 23 credits again.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. We'll stick with the best practices here. So, yeah, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have something that you are doing that you're feeling is being really successful, or if you're having any particular challenges, we love to hear about those. You know, our goal here at the state level is, you know, how can we enable your district? How can we help you guys to better do what you need to do? Dixie, do you have something?
No, I just want to thank Josh for joining us today and Denise and Rhett for facilitating the great conversation. I think the High School and Beyond Plan is really a foundational tool that I would love to see continue to grow and used throughout. I think it's good for engagement at the middle school level, especially as we see credit-bearing courses being offered at the middle school level, and to engage parents and in that conversation, and then throughout high school in thinking about as we start to look at outcomes for post-graduation and students who are accessing college and tech prep programs and their success in those programs. I really feel like the High School and Beyond Plan and some of the tools that were presented today are going to be critical as we work forward in that mission. So thank you for joining us.
Great. Thanks, everybody.